Hello everyone, welcome you all. In the today's video, we are going to learn about VI editor commands in Unix or Linux. After that, I will also show you how we can work with Putty and WinSCP tools. First, let us start with what is VI editor. So sometimes when you connect to Unix or Linux, if you want to create a file or if you want to edit the details in the file or if you want to remove some data or if you want to add some data into the file, right? So we need some kind of editor. Okay. And most of the times you may not get like GUI like this. So here I have just connected to my Ubuntu VM and here you can see all the UI options. And if you want to create a file or if you want to write the data or update the data or whatever changes you want to do in the file, simply I can use one command called gedit, and whatever the file you want to create or modify, you can just specify the name of the file and then it will open the editor like this. Now if I just look at this editor, and in this you can just write whatever you want. You can just use control C control V commands and you can do modifications. It is very simple and easy to do that. And after doing all the actions, you can just save the file and you can just close this window and changes are updated. And it is very straightforward and very simple if you have something called UI. But most of the times you may not have this kind of UI to work with those files, right? If you want to create a new file or if you want to write the data or if you want to update the data or if you want to save the data in the file, and it is not that much easy to do that. So in those cases we use VI editor. So VI editor, it will be open the file and where we have to use certain number of commands, and by using those commands we can create a file, we can modify the data, we can add new data, we can remove the data, and but we need to use certain number of commands there. Okay, now I'll show you how we can use those commands in the VI editor. Now if I see in the Ubuntu VM here, same test file I just want to open by using VI command. I say VI and I say test. This is just open a file which contains some data here, right? And whatever data you want to have, this is the current data which we already have in the file. Suppose if you want to add some data or if you want to modify some data, and then if you want to save the file or without saving the file, I want to close the file, then if you want to do these kind of activities, we need to run certain commands. Okay, so for example here, currently as soon as I open this file, it is in the command mode, and if you want to write some data, we need to press small I, then it is turned into insert mode, and then I can write some message like this. Okay, then I can write some text like this. Now after that, if you want to save the file, again we have to go to the command mode. So to go to the command mode, we have to press escape command, and once you press ESC, it will enter into the command mode. Then we want to save and exit from this file, then I can say colon wq colon. So this command will save and quit from the file. So this way we have to handle it by using VI editor. Okay, but if you are working in the UI environment or if you're provided like UI in the Unix or Linux, and you can use gedit command, that is very simple and more flexible to the user. But sometimes you may not get UI kind of stuff, and you will get only CLI mode, command line interface mode. In that case, you have to use VA editor with some number of commands. Okay, now I'll show you how we can get that situation, how we can get the CLI mode and how we can use these commands in the CLI mode. Let us assume that this is a machine like Unix, a machine which is located remote machine in remotely available. Now I want to connect to this machine through my Windows operating system. So let us say I'm currently using Windows operating system and my Unix or Linux server is remotely located. Okay. Now I want to connect to my server. Okay. So the scenario is, let us say this is my Unix or Linux server. Now here I'm working on Windows. I'm user of Windows, and from Windows, I want to connect to my Unix or Linux terminal, and then I want to execute all the command from here, from the Windows. Okay, so how it is possible? In that case, we cannot get the UI part. So we can execute, we can open the CLI mode here and terminal, and in that terminal, we can execute all the commands will be executed on the Linux or Unix server machine. So how these things are possible? So whenever you are trying to connect your Linux or Unix machines, which are remotely available, you have to use certain tools. Let's say we have a Putty tool. Okay, we also have WinSCP. So these kind of tools will be very, very useful whenever you are working between like Unix or Linux servers and Windows operating systems. And suppose if you want to connect from your Windows to Linux server, you can just use Putty, which will open the terminal. And just we need to provide the IP address of the Unix or Linux machine and username and password. Then which will open the terminal on your Windows operating system itself, from where you can execute all the commands. It's purely CLI mode. And suppose if you want to transfer some files from your local Windows machine to Linux or Unix machines, then you can go for WinSCP tools. There are so many tools are there, but these are the two major popular tools are there in the market, Putty and WinSCP. And Putty is a tool by which we can just open the terminal for our remote Linux or Unix server where I can execute our commands. And WinSCP is another tool by which we can transfer our files from your Windows operating system to your remote operating system, that is your Linux or Unix. Okay. Now I'll show you how we can do this. So how we can download and install Putty. Let us assume this is my Unix VM. Assume that this is my Unix or Linux VM, which is remotely located. So to connect to this particular VM, I need some details. So I want to connect to this VM. I just want to open the terminal from outside of this VM. So for that, I need to know the IP address of the machine or name of the machine. The second thing is username and password. So these details we need to know. But how we will know the IP address of this machine? So if it is a Windows, we have a command called ipconfig. So that command will give you IP address of your Windows. Suppose currently if you are working on Windows, let us assume here, I'll just open my command prompt on Windows, and here I can just execute one command called ipconfig. When I execute ipconfig, which will give you the IP address of the machines, current Windows operating system machine. Similarly, on Linux or Unix, we have a one more command called ifconfig. So this is a command we have to execute. Ifconfig. So this command will give you the IP address of that particular Unix or Linux machine. So once executed this command, so you can just look at this. So this is a IP address of the machine. So by using this IP address and username and password, I can connect to this machine through the terminal in the CLI mode. Okay. Now I'll show you how we can do this. Let it copy this IP. This is most important for us to connect to that machine remotely, and username password is also required. So here I'll say my username is Pavan and password is, I say Ubuntu. So these details are required whenever you want to connect to your remote machines. Okay. Now I copied these details. Let's minimize this, and I can just close this terminal for now. I'm just minimizing this my VM. Now let us assume your Unix or Linux box is remotely located. So now I want to connect to that VM using a Putty. So how to download and install Putty? It is very simple. You can just say download Putty. So when I say download Putty, and this is the official website of putty.org. This is a simple, a small lightweight tool. You can just go here and you can download Putty here. Just click on here, which will download a small executable file. And you can just choose 32-bit or 64-bit, whatever you have. And you can just click on this, or you can directly go and download executable files. So you can just say putty.exe, and once you click on this, you will get putty.exe. And once you get the putty.exe, it is just I copied the same install. We don't need to install anything, just exe file you will get. So once you click on this putty.exe file, you will get a small window like this. So in this, we have to provide something called host name or IP address, and then password, username, so on. So let us see how we can use this Putty tool to which will connect our, which will open the terminal window through which we can connect to our remotely available Linux or Unix machines. Okay. So we already have this IP, right? So let me just copy this IP. And here in the host name or IP address, we have to pass the IP address or name of the machine. And default port is 22, or if there is another port is configured for that VM, you have to ask that port number from the admin and get it from the admin and provide that port number. So if you want to save this session every time you want to, if multiple times, if you want to connect to this machine, you can save the session. So I can just provide the IP, and I can also give some name, like I say Ubuntu. So this name, as when I save here, this name will appear in this list, and the next time, which is very easy to connect. Okay. And after that I can say open, and now it is asking for login as. So let me increase the font, right click. This is your terminal which you have opened on Windows. So I say change settings, and here you can just go to appearance and change. I'm just trying to increase the font. Let me just put 18 and bold. I say okay, then apply. So now the font is increased. So now it is asking for login and password. So my login is Pavan and the password I'm providing is say Ubuntu. So once you provided, now it is successfully connected. So now this is a terminal which we have opened on Windows operating system. And here we don't have any UI. Okay, so let me just show you now. Again, I'm just connecting to Ubuntu. Let's assume I have opened my terminal. So if I use gedit command here, let's say gedit testing, which is open the UI like this, right? So here you can easily work with this. You can add some data, replace, modify, append, whatever the data content you are working on, you can do that. This facility is there. But if you don't have UI is provided, for example, in this case, in the command line interface, when I execute this command, I say gedit, let's say test. So this will give you some warnings because which will not support any UI kind of stuff. Okay. So this is where exactly we use VI editor. Let me just control C, it will exit. And all Unix or Linux commands we can execute from this terminal. Okay. So this is where exactly we have to use vi command to work with the files. If you want to add some content or modify the content, change the content and close the file, all the stuff we can do by using vi editor commands. So now I'm going to show you what are all commands are available in the vi editor. So let us say the first command what I'm going to show you is how to create a file by using vi command. All right, so first thing what we have to do is we need to use vi command and then followed by name of the file. Okay, so I'll say sample.txt. So sample.txt I'm going to create. I say vi sample.txt. What this command will do is this particular vi command will open the file in the editor. So when I press enter, observe this what happens. Now we have enter into the editor. So here this is a exact file sample.txt. Here it will show you the file name sample.txt, and here we can do whatever you want. You can add the content, you can modify the content, you can replace the content by using different commands. Directly we cannot do that. By using the commands we can do that. So let us try to understand this editor. So if I just see here till symbols, they are representing empty lines. Okay, so or we can say unused lines. There is no data. A till symbol is representing that is an empty line. There is no data. And here you can see file name and the cursor is waiting in the first line. So when I open the VI editor first time, right, we cannot directly enter the data because whenever you open the VI editor, two things we have to remember. VI editor, two things we have to remember. Always the VI editor will be in the two different modes. The first mode is command mode and the second mode is insert mode. So these are the two important modes which we have to remember. So whenever the VI editor is there in the command mode, we can just give some commands. And whenever the VI editor is in insert mode, then only we can write the content in the file, or we can modify the content, we can delete the content. So whatever the activities we are doing on the content of the file, we should be in the insert mode. And whenever you want to execute certain command in the VA editor, then we have to be in the command mode. But how we can switch to command mode and insert mode? To switch to command mode, if you want to enter into the command mode, by default will be command mode. So if you want to switch to insert mode, if you want to add some content, then we have to press a small I. And again, now I am in the insert mode. After adding some data, again I want to save the file, then I have to again shift to command mode. So the command is for command mode is escape key we have to press. So these are the two command simultaneously we have to use. So if you want to issue some commands to the VA editor, we have to be in the command mode. And if you want to add some content, modify the content, or whatever activity you are doing on the content, then you have to be in the insert mode. Okay, so after inserting the data, right, suppose I want to save the file, right? After inserting the data, I just want to save the file. So there are few commands are there. I say there are mainly three commands are there: saving and closing the file. I'll practically show you how we can execute this command. The colon q, this command will save the file but keep it open, the editor still open. And colon q, this command will quit without saving the file. And colon wq, this command will save the file and then quit from the vi editor. So these are the most frequently used commands along with vi editor. Now let me show you how we can work with this command step by step. So I just open my terminal. Observe this. Let me also open the notepad side by side. Okay, let us say this is my terminal, and whatever commands I have just listed out, I just want to execute and show you. So now we already enter into the VI editor. So default mode is command mode. Currently we are in the command mode. So if you want to enter some data or some text in the file, what you have to do now, we have to switch to insert mode. So to switch to insert mode, what you have to do, we have to press small I. So I'm just pressing small I. Then what happens? It is changing to insert mode. Okay, so it is changing to insert mode. So once it is in insert mode, then we can write some text. Okay, let me write something here. I say this is my first line. Now enter. Again I'm writing another thing. So this is my second line, and one more, this is my third line. So now I have done 3 lines. Now after writing the content in the file, right, then I want to save the file. So we have again 3 commands are there. So when I say w or colon w, then the file will be saved but still the editor will open. When I say colon q, which will quit without saving the file. When I say wq, save the file and quit. Now I have already added some content, so I want to save the file and then quit from the vi editor. So which command I have to use? I should use colon wq. So how we can execute this command? So currently which is in insert mode. Now if you want to run this command, or if you want to issue this command, we have to switch to the command mode. So after completing the content, you have to press again escape button. So once you press escape button, so then you will run into command mode. Okay, so once you enter into the command mode, then what you have to do is we have to save the file. So the command is colon wq, small w q, that's it, and say enter. And currently this is saying like read only option is set. So what you have to do is I say colon wq colon, also we have to give them enter. And what it is saying, the sample.txt is read only, cannot override. Basically this file is created as a reading, because we are trying to create this outside of the box. So we have just created this file in the read only mode. If you have permissions on this file, then we can do writing and everything. Okay, so let me just provide some permission to this file first of all. Okay, so let me just exit from this, control small q. So I say small q means which will exit, and say enter. Now it is again enter into the terminal, so I want to exit from this. So for that, escape colon and quit without saving means small q, right? So I say small q, enter. Now it is still not enter. I think we have to give one more. Let me just say q and colon. Yeah, now it is exited. Okay, now let me just give some privileges to this so that we can do certain commands, we can execute certain commands in the v8. So how to give the permissions? I say chmod command. Chmod, I'm giving all the permission on this file. I'll say 777 means reading, writing, executing for user, groups and others. So I'm just saying sample.txt. I'm giving all the permissions now. Perfect. Now let me just open the command, open vi sample.txt now. So once you open, now again, previously whatever content we have added, we have not saved it because the file is open in the read only mode. So now we need to add some content. So currently it is in command mode. So I have to press I have to press small I. so that it will enter into the insert mode. So now I'm pressing I. So once you press I, then what happens? We need to enter some data. So I can say this is my first line, and this is my second line, and I say this is my third line. I'm writing again. So after writing this content, now this time I want to save the file and quit. So which command you have to use? Colon WQ. So for that, what you have to do is we have to again switch to the command mode. So currently we are in insert mode, so that we have we are added the data, something like this. So now we need to go to the command mode, then you can execute this command. So how to switch to command mode after entering the data? Press escape key. So once you press escape key, then it is turned into command mode. So now we have to execute WQ, save the file and quit. So then I say WQ. And in some Unix versions, we need to also give something called exclamatory mark along with the commands. So exclamatory mark is mandatory sometimes, okay, in some flavors, but otherwise we can directly give this command. I say colon. So after giving this command, press enter. Now it is done. So if you want to see the content of the file, what you can do is you can simply say cat command. So cat sample.txt. Now we can see the content. Okay. Now again, I want to open the file. Then I want to add one more line. So then how we can do that? So again, open VI editor, VI sample.txt. Now again open. So now we are in the command mode. So now we need to shift to the insert mode. How to shift to the insert mode? We have to press we have to press just I, small I. Now it is enter into the insert mode. So now I want to add one line, and let's say I want to add fourth line. So how we can add? So we need to go to the fourth line. So here to navigate between the lines, like first line, second line, third line, we cannot directly use arrow keys. Okay, so we cannot directly use arrow keys to navigate like right, left, down, up. So we cannot directly use arrow keys. So even for navigation also, we have to use certain commands. So what are those commands we have to use? Let me just put some commands here. So these are the four important commands which you have to use to navigate. Like if you want to go up, we have to use one command called H. This command will move left, then L, which will move right, and down, move down, J, and move up, K. So these are the different commands we have to use. So currently this is a file in the insert mode currently we are. So now I want to come down to the last line. So which command I have to use? I need to move down. So J I have to use. And every time when I execute this J, only one line will be down. So if you want to come down to 3 lines, then I have to press J 3 times. And again, if you want to press J command, we have to be in the command mode. So for that, again, we have to execute escape key. And then I'm just pressing J, just observe what happens. When I press small J, now observe this. Now it is slowly coming down to second line. Now third line. See this? Third line is the last line. So now again, I want to go end of this line. So again, I have to use right and left arrow keys. So where I have to go? So when I say H here, observe this. When I say H here, there is no left. This is a starting point. Now when I say L, small I, small L I'm pressing. So just look at this command. Small L I'm pressing. Now observe this. Now you can see when I press small L, it is just moving one character to another character like this. Now we have entered into the end of the line. Okay, now we can just say enter. And again, if you want to add the content again, what you have to do? Again, we have to switch to insert mode. I say small I, then it is a insert mode. And then here I'm adding the data. So suppose by mistake, I have typed something like this, right? Now I want to delete this. How we can delete? You cannot use backspace or you cannot use delete key like this. See this? I'm just adding multiple lines here, but unwanted data. So I want to just remove all these things. So we cannot directly remove by using delete key or something like this. So when you're pressing arrow keys or something, automatically the data is typing. So for that, what you can do is if you want to remove unnecessary characters or unwanted lines, again, you have to shift to command mode, press ESC. And there is a one more command called DD, small dd, which will delete the particular line. And you have to place the cursor on the particular line and press DD. So I'm just observe. Just observe here. I'm pressing small dd. Now observe the line is got removed. Now again dd. Now line is got deleted. Again one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. And this is also I'm deleting. See this? Right? So this is how we can do that. Okay. So now again, if you want to insert something, I say again insert mode, and then you can add some data like this. Now you are in insert mode. Okay, and now again same commands you have to execute, esc and insert mode. If you want to write some content or modify the content, use insert mode. And after writing the content or after modifying the content, if you want to execute some command, use escape. Okay, so again I'm going to escape key and then dd, so that line is deleted. And now after modifying, I'm just trying to save it. So how we can save it? I can simply say escape and colon and wq, and lowercase I say wq and colon. That's it. Now again, if you say cat sample.txt, then only 2 lines of content we have. Okay, so this is how we have a certain number of commands we have. And now I'll show you how to copy the lines. So let me again go to va editor sample.txt. Now the first line I just want to copy in the second line. So whatever the line we have here, I just want to copy the same thing here. Okay, in the middle of first and second line. So how we can do that? So here we have one more command called, if you want to copy the line from one place to another place, we have something called yy, which is called as a yank command. You can call it as a yank. I say yy. So by using this, we can do it. And along with p. So these are the combination we have to use. This is just a copy. P means there's a paste, copy paste. So yy means is a just copy. P means a paste. Okay. So, and before entering this command, what we have to do? We have to switch to command mode. So escape. Now the first line I want to copy. So place the cursor in the first position and press small yy. So double time I have to press yy. So now yy. That means first line is copied. Now I want to copy the same line in the second position. Now place the cursor and here I want to copy. And all these things we have to do in the command mode itself. And now place the cursor in the second line and then press small p. Now you can see the same line which is copied. Okay, so there is empty line between first line and first line. So you can also remove this by using dd command. Okay, now place the cursor here. I say dd, which will delete that. Okay, and after that, so we are anyway command mode. So after that, what you have to do is colon wq. Now save and quit. Over. So I say cat sample.txt. Now we got the data. Right, so this is how there are so many commands are there. You can just google it, what are all the commands are available in the va editor. But these are the very basic commands and which we can use very frequently when you're working with va editor. Okay, in the working in the cli mode means we have to know certain number of commands. If you have provided completely ui part, it was very simple. But if you have to, if you want to work with the cli mode, then you have to know certain number of commands. So these are all related to vi editor commands. And we have seen how to use putty also. If you want to connect to linux or unix machines which are remotely available, we use a putty. So when I just open the putty, and which will ask you the details, and let me just close this window now. Okay, once you close, then I'm just pressing the putty again. This will open one more window like this. And we already saved the session, right? So the saved sessions are display here in the bottom window in the small box. Okay, and then you can select that and you can click on the load, and it is loaded all the details. And if you want to change the ip addresses and all, you can change it. So this is my ip address of the current VM. I just change it here and here. Okay, and you can just save it and now open. That's it. So it will ask username. I'm providing username and then password and then connected. That's it. So this is how we can just use putty. And there is one more thing called WinSCP, guys. This is also very useful. Sometimes you have to copy some files from your local desktop, like Windows desktop, to your Unix or Linux machine. Then how we can do that? So let me connect to my Unix or Linux. I'll say Ubuntu VM, and I'm providing password. Okay, now I have just connected. Observe this. So here, uh, this is my desktop, right? So when I open my terminal here, I say ls, so these are the files currently I have. And when I say pwd, this is my current working directory. So these are the current files we have, right? And even if you want to see these files physically, you can just go here, files, click on the files, right? And you can just click on the files. So then you will see all the files, and this will open the window like this, right? So whatever files you have created under this directory, right, whatever files you are seeing here in the command mode, all the files are physical, you can see in the UI format, right? Suppose I want to copy some files from my local host machine, like from Windows to Unix or Linux. Okay, then how we can do that? So for that, transferring the files, we have so many tools are there, but WinSCP is one of the best and popular tool which is available. Now I'll show you how to work with WinSCP. So what we have to do is we have to just go to Google and I'll say download WinSCP. So download WinSCP. So this is official website of WinSCP. So this is also free. And go here and you can just download small executable file. Okay. So once you click on this, which will just download small executable file. And then by using this exe file, you can just click on next, next, next. Within 2 or 3 steps, your WinSCP will be installed. Very simple and straightforward installation. So once you have installed, you'll get this icon. You can just look at here, WinSCP. Now through which I can transfer the files from my local machine to your Linux or Unix server. So let me open my WinSCP. So once you click on the WinSCP, observe this carefully, which will give you the login window like this, right? So this is my login window. And also it will show you two different windows. One side, it is showing our Windows. Okay, so this is our Windows environment. So this is our Windows environment. And this is your Linux environment, Linux or Unix environment. Okay. So here we have to provide the details of your Linux or Unix server. Then once you click on the login, which will connect. Now let me show you how we can do this. Okay. All right. So now it is open this small window, right? So here what you have to do is we have to provide the host name. So by default, which is empty, or you can just take a new site also, no problem. You can just take a new site here. And here we have to provide the IP address and so on. Now let me copy the IP. That is a host name. Port number is 22. And username I'm providing. I say Pavan is my username. And password also I'm providing. And then if you want to use this connection in future, and if you want to save the connection here in this list, then you can provide something. Okay, or else you can just save, and it will ask you the name, and you can just rename also. You can give some name, whatever you want. And if you want to save the password also along with this connection, you can just select this mark and I'll say okay. Now you can see there is a new entry which is created. So from next time onwards, you no need to provide the details. Just select the whichever connection you want, and then click on login. If you want to edit these details the next time, you can just click on edit the details, and again save it. Now I just say login. So once you have done this, now you can see one side, you can see all the Windows related folders, and other side you can see home/Pavan. So this is a home directory which you have in the Linux or Unix. Okay. Now just I want to move some file. Let's say I just want to go to my desktop on my Windows. You can, this area completely belongs to your desktop on Windows desktop. Okay. So here all my files are available. And here I want to move some files. So let us say I have something called, let me just take some file. Okay, so here you can just look at here, javascript.pdf is there. Okay, so I just want to move this file here. And if I just look at here I don't have any file called javascript.pdf. I just want to drag and drop like this, just drag and drop. That's it. So once you drag and drop, the file is copied. So you can also copy files from Unix Linux to Windows also. Suppose here I have some files. Let us say, let me just say emp list 1, and this file I want to get it in Windows. So I can just drag and drop like this. Then I got emp1 here. You can just look at save here, and you can also refresh. You can say refresh, right? Now you can say emp list 1, you can see here. So javascript.pdf you can see here. Now let me just minimize the WinSCP, and now again go to Ubuntu, and here you can just ls, you can see javascript.pdf file also you can see somewhere, because we have just moved here. You can just look at here. And if you want to see the file physically, you can also look at here in the UI format, same location. Just refresh and search for it. I say JavaScript, right? So now we can see here javascript.pdf. So we can transfer the files, right, from Windows to Unix or Linux, or from Linux so Unix to Windows, vice versa. So this is very, very useful and very popular tool which is available in the market, which we can use it for transferring the files between your operating systems, WinSCP. Especially for Windows to Linux or Unix, communication can be happen through WinSCP. And Putty is another tool which will just open the terminal, and through terminal we can execute the commands. But WinSCP will not provide any terminal. It's just for transferring the files from your Windows to Unix or Unix to Windows. And Putty is just will open the terminal once you provided the details, and through the terminal we can execute all the commands. Okay, so we have seen VI editor, how to work with the VI editor with a few number of commands, some basic commands. And then we also seen how to use Putty and WinSCP tools. So in the real time, these tools are very, very important, because most of the times your database servers and applications will be installed on your Linux or Unix servers. So very frequently we should connect to those machines, and we will execute certain number of commands from your local machine, from your Windows desktop. Okay, in that case, we use Putty and WinSCP tools. All right. So that's all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.